Alyssa Jones, also known as AJ Stitch on Instagram, and welcome to my Flosstube channel. I have not filmed in over a year, and this month Darcy Cameron, Stitchman Darcy, inspired me to try filming segments, which I did film segments, and then I went to upload them into a video and lost them all. So I don't want him super disappointed. So here I am actually just filming a regular Flosstube. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully I don't lose this one too. I have been stitching and crafting quite a bit to start the year 2025. I set a goal this year to finish 25 projects in 2025. Forget it, 2025. We're just going to say that. And I have started the year with 2 finishes already. So I'm going to start with my cross stitch finishes, but I also am going to have a little bit of knitting to share today and a new craft that I started. So we'll start with the finishes though. So the first thing I finished this year, #1 finish, was The Fox by Cottage Garden Samplings. And this was the #1 in the Year in the Woods series that came out 3 or 4 years ago now. And it's taken me that long to finish. I didn't have very much left to do on our fox here, like maybe just like part of his leg, his foot, and these bottom trees. That's it. That's all I had to do. And now he's completely done. And I have no idea what I'm going to do with him. But I do love him. He's really great. I'm debating whether or not I'm going to start another one in that series. I really would like to start their house series this year. I'm just not sure which one to commit to first. So that was my first one. Oh, this was, you know, in my segments that are gone now, I had the linen name and everything, and now that's all put away and gone. But this was a linen that I have no idea what the name was, but I think it's just a 32 count. It feels kind of bigger. So then I also had a second finish, and this was a big finish for me, even though there also wasn't much left to it. And that is Jack Frost Tree Farm. Super wrinkly still, even though it's been laying kind of flat. This is by Little House Needleworks. And all I had left was this last square to finish up, and I finally did it. Now it's so great. I love this one. I love Jack Frost's little colonial knot eyes. See, it looks kind of wonky because that's how my knots always looked. I love that. I love the colors of this one. This was, I think, a 30 count portobello linen. It's also large. I probably almost could have gone 3 strands on it. But I do like the rustic feel of the 2/2. And this was just with called for floss. And I think for face color, I just grabbed something that looked like skin to me. Nothing too fancy. Oh my gosh, you can almost not see him. He turned out great. Look at that little wonky snowman. Ah! Little buttons and little wonky face. I love him. So, 2 finishes. Then I decided I'd start working on some of my whips from stash. And one of those projects is one that I started last fall. So it's not a very old one. I keep it in my bag. It's Red House Designs by Carol Austin. She's one of the Northern Needleworkers, and you can see the little Canadian flag on the back. She gifted this to me this past Stitch North. She has such beautiful talents with sewing. It's such a treat to get one of her gifts. And this project I am doing with Carrie from Roxy Floss Co. and Crafty Whitney on Instagram, X Stitches on Instagram. And I'm pretty sure I gave a cut of my granite green to Stitcherness on Instagram. I'm not sure she has started yet. And this was inspired when this linen was found at Stitch North, and it was like a one of a kind, but that Carrie really wanted to try to reproduce, and we are calling it Patina. And on it we are stitching Scary Apothecary by the Witchy Stitcher. And mine is, I think, about 66% done. There's a lot of backstitch. All the letters had backstitch. There's a whole little section that goes here at the bottom that the letters are mostly backstitch, and it's not my favorite part, and I love using Pattern Keeper, and of course you can't see the backstitch on Pattern Keeper, so I'm kind of getting to the part where I'm dreading because I'm gonna have to keep going back and forth between the regular PDF pattern and the actual Pattern Keeper. But it is coming along really nicely, and I do really want to get this finished by April, so this should definitely be one of my 25 finishes this year. It's not showing this green real nice. That's closer. It's almost a rusty green, where it was supposed to be pub crawl and it's a mist dye, so it's not supposed to have this like rust in it, but I love the rust. So that is fabulous. And the thread we're using on that is actually also a Roxy floss. Let's see if I can pull that out. It is Deep Dive, which on camera probably looks black or gray, and that's kind of an accurate description, but maybe like a touch of very, very, very dark blue in it too. But it pops on that green fabric nicely. So that's one thing I've worked on. I'm gonna consult my stitchy planner for the year. This was a Home Goods find for I think the price of like $10. And I've been doing a really great job of keeping track of what I've worked on this month, which helps. Let's see. I'm going to go into knitting next because I have been working on a few projects throughout the month. One of those, oops, in an Evertote bag, is my Sleepy Hollow Fade that I got from Rose Hill Yarns. They're a Canadian yarn dyer. And this was a sock weight fade that I've gotten. And I'm knitting it into just a basic striped stockinette cowl. Kind of like the other one I knit that was probably in a previous video. But this time it's very autumn colors. And then this is the halfway point right here, which is about 200 rows, maybe somewhere in there, maybe not quite 200. It's a lot of rows, but you use each color and you knit 8 or 9 rows with that color. And then on the other side, I mix up all the colors so it's not a fade anymore and do skinny little stripes. And it's looking real spooky. It's going to be great to wear next October if I get it done. But this is great mindless knitting. I've done it at during football games. It's a good time, and also like if I'm at a training for work, I can sit there and pay attention better if I'm mindlessly knitting at the same time, because sitting still is not my favorite thing unless my hands are busy crafting. So there's one knitting project. And then I am also knitting a fancy little shawl that I cannot do mindlessly. I have to pay attention. This is the Moss Blossom Shawl by Woolen Pine. And I bought yarn from my new favorite yarn dyer, who I've been buying so much yarn from, which is Moon Glow Yarn Co. And she's an American yarn dyer, and she has like a sense of color that just hits me right in the heart, and I end up buying it. So this is one of the first sets I got from her, and it is this beautiful, oh, it's not showing true. It is very, very lovely green, way brighter than what you're seeing there in that washed out light. Closer. It's like a rich autumn green. It's lovely, and this, it's so super, super soft. I think it's a superwash merino. I can double check that though. Superwash merino, and it's coming along. It's just, I definitely have made some mistakes because I tried to knit it where I wasn't giving my full attention, and so I'm going to not knit it in public anymore, and I will just be knitting this at home when I can pay attention. Uh-oh, I think I have a sneeze. Sorry in advance, because my sneezes are ridiculous if it does come out. All right, so I have that started, and it's a long ways away from done, and it does take me a while. And ball escape. It really doesn't show up, not even against the stove. This is a very warm spot to sit today. It is blustery, super, super blustery today, and that wind is cold coming in through the house. So the radiator is a nice warm spot to sit. It's currently even snowing outside. Did I say the date? I don't think I did. It's January 29th. There's only 2 more days this month. Okay, I have one more knitting project, and that'll be it for knitting. The other thing I've been working a lot on is a colorwork project. I did a colorwork hat at Christmas time that I loved, and I wanted to make these too. And this was a set of yarn I'd gotten from Moonglow Yarn Co. And it was this really happy set of holiday colors. This was the sock set. So many I can hold at once. And so it's the brown, and then red, pink, teal, green, and a creamy peach. And I'm using these colors to make these gingerbread sampler socks. And I can't wait to wear them, but I'm getting to the scary part of the pattern. So that's what they'll look like when they're done. So when you put your feet together, it makes the little house. And I'm knitting them inside out on these size 1, I think it's pronounced LiQWYD needles. They're driftwood, they're tiny little wooden guys, and they're sharp, and I love them. I'm knitting it inside out to make sure that the floats aren't too tight, because there are a lot of yarn carries in this pattern. However, when I turn it right side out, you can see how beautiful they already are. I'm getting to the part though where I only have a few rows left before I start doing the heel, and I'm a little worried about it because the pattern it's going to take a lot of focus for me to make sure I'm not doing it wrong. It's complicated because you have to keep the pattern going on the one side, but your heels just comes out brown, and I've never had to do anything quite this fancy, so it's a nice challenge. Definitely a challenge, and hopefully a successful one. If that doesn't work out, I'm going to end up turning these just like into little baby gingerbread house leg warmers. I'm hoping I can get it though. And this project bag is a plastic reused bag from a golf shirt I had gotten in the mail. Very fancy. Okay, so that's it for my knitting. And then I said I had learned a new craft too. So this is my last non-cross stitch thing, for those of you who are wondering. However, same yarn dyer, Moonglow Yarn Co. completely inspired me to learn to crochet. And so she came out with a plan to do a rainbow blanket this year. And every month you get 10 minis. And January was reds, ruby reds. I think February is pinks of some sort, going by her Instagram post. And we're using a pattern, let's see if I have a name here. Oh yeah, by Naughty Crawl Crochet. It's actually a free crochet along for the year, and it's called the Succulents Blanket. And the yarn they're using is stunning. It actually, like, knit up or crocheted up, looks like a real succulent. However, I'm not doing that one because I didn't know about it, and nor did I know how to crochet. But about 1 week ago, I spent some time learning, about 4 hours, and I have not woven in any strings yet. However, I have crocheted 7 of my squares so far, and they're all lovely shades of red. And you can see there's bright reds, lighter reds, more bright red, dark red, and somewhere in between. So that's the pattern of the granny square, though. It's a sunburst granny square. And mine are not perfect by any means, and I'm still trying to figure it out, but I'm starting to be able to see it, which with knitting, I've been doing it so long, I can see like when I've made a mistake and how to fix it and what looks right and what looks wrong. Crochet, I really just didn't even know what I was doing for those first 4 hours, but it's starting to get easier. Like, I just think they look really happy though. Let's see if I can get better light. Ooh, so blurry. I don't know if it's because it's so bright outside The sky's completely white with snow clouds, just a little reflective. And then these all get joined together using this marshmallow yarn. But I don't think you do that until the end. I don't think you can do it as you go, which would have been nice because I would like to just end the year with the blanket done. I'm gonna have to research that part of the pattern a little bit more. I know for the main succulents version, you can't because you mix up all the blocks, but I feel like since I'm doing a whole stripe, I could, maybe. I don't know how that part works, but I'm gonna figure it out. All right, so then stitching wise, I've been working really hard on my full coverage projects. I've worked on 3 of them that I've kind of been rotating through. The first one I worked on this year, check my notes, was Sunflower Cottage. And here it is. It's getting pretty far. I've gotten to fill in around that heart this month. I got to fill all of that in, worked through all of this a little bit more and started to fill in here. This is like mostly solid color fill in at this point. And so is this, but this part is pretty confetti. And so I usually just pick a color and then work it through. Maybe you can see it better there. So getting down into that detailed house part that I've been excited to get to. And then you're starting to see some of like the sunflower because the whole bottom is sunflowers. I'll insert a picture. But I'm excited to get to those yellows too because it's been pretty blue heavy up until now. And I'm stitching this one with Darcy Cameron and Emma X Stitching. And I know Darcy's been working on his a lot too, and I haven't caught up with Emma to check on her, but it'd be nice to see this get a little bit closer to done this year. And so when I do 500 stitches in rotation, I feel like it makes a noticeable difference to my eyes. Sorry, I have a kitty fur on me. And that's really like inspiring, is to see these get further. So I've been working on that one, and then the next one I worked on was my Randall Spangler Some Enchanted Evening, and this was a story keep, so it's also considered a quick stitch. And I checked the website for Hate. They don't have it listed on the website for sale anymore. The piece, the main like whole Some Enchanted Evening, is available in a couple different styles, but the story keep isn't. But I feel like if you wanted to do like select a size, you probably still could. But this is getting close to done. I think this is the bottom stitches right down here. I think that's the bottom row. So this is like 68% done, I think. You can see it's coming right along. A little bit of a wrinkle. There's a couple stitches I question whether or not I got right or not, but overall, nobody's ever gonna know from far away. So that one, I've done at least 500 stitches on this month too. Then I have a few more, I think 140 more to do before I have 500 done on this piece. And these two are both Heaven and Earth design ones. This piece is an unconventional cross stitch, and I started this one along with Stitchy Nutty and also Whitney of Crafty Whitney. And I had this piece of Easy Grid. I think this is Easy Grid, and it's I think a 32 count or a 28 count Easy Grid. But I'm doing Van Gogh Never Leveled Up, and the artist name is completely escaping me. However, you can start to see the swirl coming in and then the outline of the pipe that comes out, because it's a Mario themed one. And it's just really fun to stitch. I also bought another one that I think is called The Guardian, and there's somebody pulling into my driveway. Not somebody I know. Where was I? Oh, and Guardian I bought from them from Unconventional Cross Stitch too, as well as one that's just the moon. I want to do all of these cross stitches so badly, but there is no time to get them all done. But as long as I work on one of them, I feel better. And my needle minder here is a cute little avocado that my friend Nutty made it when she has been doing some pottery work, and I just think that is the cutest little needle minder ever. So the whole thing will fit inside this nurge when it's done. I have, like I said, about 140 more stitches, and then I'm probably going to rotate back to Sunflower Cottage. So I'm going to see all of these make a lot of progress. I have to go check to see what that car is doing. Let me see. It's okay. It was an Amazon Prime delivery. I'm not even expecting anything. It probably isn't for me. I don't live on a road where people just come to your house very often, though. It's kind of a little out of the way. So I'm going to fit all these back into my project bag that is from Kaylee Tent Stitch. I bought it at her booth at Stitch North, and it's got the window at the front and sewing stuff on the back, and it's got these fuzzy polka dots, which I absolutely love. And I've got 2 of her little scissor fobs on there too. This is the one that Apollo likes to attack a lot. He killed it recently. He's going to be so shocked to see that it's alive again. Okay, so another project, I worked on this one time this month. It's in a plain old plastic zippy bag, so sorry for the noise. I took this one with me to French thinking it'd be easy fill-in and there'd be no need for a tablet because I don't have it on Pattern Keeper. And I must have just stopped mid-stitches because the needle and thread are still on there. But this pattern is Winter Moon by Plum Street Samplers. Oh, I can show you the pattern too. And it's got that giant pink house and the quilted snow, which I absolutely cannot wait to do. And watch, I'll get to the quilted snow though, and I will no longer be excited about it. But maybe, and I feel like that fence is going to be the easiest finish. So here we are up at the top, and last time I worked on it, I know I made the trees grow a little bit more, and I worked on the holly and the berries. I'm pretty sure my next thread is going to be back to the house, which is good because there's a lot of house to stitch. There's a lot of that roof to stitch and so many bricks. Can't wait to see it get further. I know my friend Jack Stitches is working on this one too, and hers is much further along and looks awesome. And I bought this as a kit, so this is the 40 count fabric that came with the kit from SG Country Sampler, and that was 40 count salt bush. It's lovely, and all the called for threads were in the kit. So now I have 2 more projects to show and one that I plan on starting. Let's go with what I was stitching this morning. This is a project in my bag that my dear friend Rai McGuy gave me. And the project is my Carolyn Manning Cherry Blossom Shooting Star. This is when I started in February on Leap Day. So February 29th, 2024. And it has now been 1 year, and I am like, I think 340 stitches away from finishing my 1 year. I worked on it this morning before I started playing with my YouTube stuff and failing. So I have a few hundred more stitches to do on this today, and it will be 25% done. But I love that. It's beautiful. The linen is a color and cotton one that I got in the club, Dried Violets, and it's just a 32 count Lugana. I don't love even weave. I don't know why, if it's harder for me to stitch, but I don't mind it for the full coverage nature of this one because you do cover it all up and it does keep the X's pretty even. So that one I work on the 29th of every month and try to do about 800 stitches, and that's kept me on track. At first I wasn't doing enough, because I did really poor math, and I thought I only had to do 555 stitches a month, and that was incorrect by a lot. And so I had to go back and catch up because I was never going to make it to 25% in 1 year. And now it's okay now. I did the catch-up work, and everything's okay. So my last thing I have to share is I have decided to start the Modern Folk Embroidery 2025 sampler. Darcy sent me a picture of his plan because he's got his red fabric and his cream colored Roxy floss all set and ready. And he actually, in between failing at making a video and restarting making this video, he sent me a picture of his start, and it looks fabulous. So I bought the pattern today, and I have this piece of unnamed Roxy floss red that I got in my club membership from them. And it's 40 count, and I think it's stunning. I also just had no idea what I was ever going to stitch on it. But I feel like Jacob's 2025, I can't remember the name of the birds, but I'll put it on the screen. Something bird. But it has a big chandelier in the middle, which is my favorite part so far. And I think I'm just going to stitch it with some 310 on this absolutely gorgeous linen. And then it'll almost be like the opposite of Darcy's, but also the same because we'll both have the red, but he'll have the light on the red and I'll have the dark on the red. Maybe one day these two samplers will meet and become friends. So that's my plan, is to get started that. Oh, I lied. Oops, sorry. I totally lied. I have one more thing I'm working on. Because the Sal Queens, Emma X Stitching and Joe Belushi Stitches, started for this year's Sal. They decided to go with Greenhouse of Oddities by Lola Crow Cross Stitch. And I was so excited that this was what they chose because I actually started this project when the Sal came out originally 2 years ago. And I got started on it. I got a good start on the frame. I got the first planting done, the second planting, the third planting, and then somewhere in the fourth planting I failed. And I never picked it up again until last night. So I'm ahead going into the year with them because they're starting fresh. However, I do still have frame to finish, and then I will try to just get a little bit ahead as the year goes on because summer months it's hard for me to fit in my stitching. If I can show you the stitching I did do on this last night, I got about 150 stitches done. But the lucky me, I got to do them 2 times because I counted poorly. So I finished up this froggy, and except for his backstitch, and then I got to stitch this black, and I got to take all of that black out because when I put this in, I was too far away over here, and I got to take all of that out and all of that out and do it again. But now it's all fine. And I think I actually also got to work on the mole a little bit too, and he also needs some backstitch when I get to it. So this would be another finish for the year. There is absolutely no way I will complete and finish the Modern Folk Embroidery in a year. No, I have not finished a single Modern Folk Embroidery year-long stitch-along yet. Not one, and I have 3 started. So this will be my 4th year-long stitch-along with Modern Folk Embroidery that I do not finish. But this gives me hope. I think I could get this one done, which would be a part of my 25 finishes, because it was a project that was started before this year. This one doesn't even count because it's something I started in 2025. Okay, so finishing up, I'm hoping to be able to film segments from now on, through like maybe weekly ones, and just put them all together in a video. The idea of that was so great. I just failed at executing it greatly. So hopefully I'll have a February video once I have enough content for you. But I have been working on all my projects a lot, and I'll have more knitting to share and maybe even more crochet, at least to show you the colors of the month, because I think that's really fun, and I can't wait to see this blanket come together. But that's all I've got for you today. Thanks to everyone who watches. Thanks to everyone who messaged me or asked me in person when I was going to film another video. I truly appreciate your encouragement. And I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Stay warm out there. Bye.